Hi, welcome to today's video and thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be answering this question. I'm 60 years old, I have $800,000, can I retire today? Now, you may not have 800, you might have more, you might have less, but I'm going to answer the question for you and show you how I arrived at that question. I'm not going to bore you with tables. I'm going to give you the result of using financial planning software to give you the result of how I arrived at whether it's a yes or a no, or maybe a question mark in there about how that person might retire. But I think you're going to get a lot out of this that might help your own situation dig into your own financial planning. If you're new to this channel, my name is David. I'm an active advisor working with individuals, families, and business owners right across Canada for the last 22 years. Yes, I'm an active advisor. I manage my clients' money. I create their financial plans, updated every single year, and I also do their insurance. So holistic planning, love what I do. I hope you enjoy today's video. If you want to check out some other videos, there's all kinds of topics around financial planning that I'm sure you're going to love. I think it's important that when you have better information, it leads to better questions. Better questions lead to better outcomes. So enjoy my channel. Let's get into why you're here today. Let's set up this individual. Mr. YouTube is 60 years of age. He is a business owner, is making $100,000 a year. He's single, has $620,000 in an RRSP, $180,000 in a tax-free savings account, and he has no debt on his home, and that's about $1.5 million. Now, he's sitting at home or he's at work and he's saying, I wonder if I can retire today. So he goes on Google and he types in, how much money do I need to retire? And he comes up with this. I'm sure you're familiar with it. If you've been doing some of your own work or research, you'll see that it says here, the gurus and the internet tell us that you should have 70 to 80% of your gross pre-retirement income available to you in retirement. So he thinks, okay, I need $70,000. So that's what he sets out. I have to use this $70,000 number with the amount of money. And that's where that question comes. He's wondering, can I actually retire if I need, because that's what Google tells me, I need $70,000. Can I retire with $800,000? I'm not sure if I can do that. Now, let me share with you just briefly, I very rarely promote me, but I just want to share with you how I help my clients in this one particular situation. I do their financial plans. And in every financial plan, they get a personal financial dashboard. That means I take what could be an 18-page financial plan and I boil it down into the most important numbers, your numbers, and I put it on a one-page document. That way, within like about a minute, you can figure out exactly where you stand in that particular year, what your financial position is. And so I'll draw your attention to the middle part. This is front and center, and it's front and center for a reason, because I want to visually help my clients see their net worth. And in this particular individual, or this example, you see that the house is worth 65% of the total net worth. Now that wouldn't be unusual if you had several $1 million of net worth. Then you would know that, well, the RSP and the TFSAs are going to be more than 800,000. But in this particular case, the retirement assets are only equal to 35% of the total net worth. So that tells this individual that while they have a big number, it's not that big. And so the next part of their dashboard is this bottom left-hand corner. This is probably the most important part of somebody's actual financial plan. And this deals with how much retirement income their current portfolio will produce at age 65. Now you can see here, if you're looking at that graph and you say, well, 2023, it's under 50,000 and I needed 70,000. So my current portfolio, now this is based off of a traditional model of taking, RRIF minimum withdrawals, using up your tax-free savings account, using up any non-registered money. So the idea is it's not big withdrawals out of a RRIF account or an RSP, like a RSP meltdown. This is talking about a traditional model of minimum withdrawals out of RRIF. And so that's what that portfolio would generate, well below the $70,000 mark. So the question is, how do we get this person to a point where they could actually continue to retire, but it wouldn't be under a RRIF minimum withdrawal strategy? So I'm giving you a little hint about what's going to happen, okay? So let's dig into where do you begin answering that question? Well, the first thing is you say, well, how much money do I think I need? And I think I'm going to need, in this particular case, the person says, I need $70,000 while I'm fairly active. And so from age 60 to age 74, 70, and then probably $10,000 less. So some 75 to 90 will take $60,000. So they kind of have figured out this is what my lifestyle I think is going to cost me during this 30-year period of retirement. And then you say, okay, well, what are your needs and your want? Where is the cash really going? Because some people will ballpark an idea of how much they need without actually thinking too heavily or deeply about what will the actual retirement expenses look like. So I always tell people, go through the example of where you're going to live, how you're going to live, are you going to travel, what does the travel look like to you, and start nailing down some real hard numbers. Talk to other people, talk to your advisor, because that advisor likely has, as in the case with me, has people who are retired and may have similar lifestyles, and they actually have the data behind. So they're a very great resource for you. So you want to know, what is your cash flow? Then you can say, okay, out of where am I going to get some of that help? And that help is going to come in the form of your Canada pension plan. So Canada pension plan is going to provide for you, if you've been contributing to it, it'll provide for you a sum of money. In this case, the average at age 65, the average monthly income for CPP is $717. Now, this person wants to retire at age 60. So if they take their Canada pension plan at age 60, it'll be reduced by 36%. So they'll only get $458 per month. Now for old age security, that begins at age 65. So there's going to be a gap between age 60 and 64, and then at 65 they get their old age security, which would be $687 per month. So there's a bit of a gap for 4 years where they're not going to get any help from old age security. And just as a reminder, the clawback on your old age security starts at about $87,000. Once you hit $142,000, you've had all of your old age security clawed back. Okay, so when you look at the income from your government Canada pension plan and old age security, you can figure out that now there's some rules around how much money you're going to get depending on, are you single because you were widowed, all kinds, is there disability? I'm just talking about a single person, never been married, just keep it simple, okay? Now, that amount is going to come to about $17,000 a year, taxable, or $1,400 a month at age 65. So not quite $17,000 right away, because you got to wait till age 65 to go get the old age security. So you can see where I'm going with this. You want to be able to start saying, where are some sources of income that you know are going to be there for you, and then fill in the gaps with your own income that'll come from your retirement accounts. So let's look at a RRIF minimum withdrawal schedule. If you're not familiar with a RRIF minimum withdrawal schedule, this is set out by the Government of Canada. It says by each age you have to withdraw a percentage of your RRIF as a minimum. You can take more if you like, but the idea is, here's the minimum you have to take. And that RRIF minimum, as you can see, goes up starting at age 55. You can see by age 60, they have to take out 3.33%. So if this person just did their withdrawal as a RRIF minimum at age 60, then they're going to have to withdraw about $20,000 in their RRIF at age 60, and that will go up each year. And then CPP will eventually be close to $17,000, so $37,000 at age 65. Not quite, because the RRIF will be slightly more, but this gets you some idea that what I'm trying to illustrate is you're nowhere near close to $70,000 of income. That is a dilemma for this person. So this person now is figuring out, and we're assuming they're not using a financial advisor, they don't have a relationship with anybody, they're just trying to figure it out themselves. So this kind of gives you some insight as to why an advisor is actually very important in this stage of your life. So they're thinking, okay, I wanted 70 and I've got under 40. Well, how do I make up the distance here? That's I don't want to live off of $37,000 a year. That would be a very bad outcome. So what that means is they have to take out more than the RRIF minimum. Okay, so let's look at what that looks like. Have a look at this. I know it's like, oh, this red on the page, it's frightening. What this means is if you were to take this person's tax-free savings account and their RRIF and just say, withdraw the 70 because I need 70,000, that's what this person's saying, that if they did that, and you see that gray line on top of the bar chart, that's the lifestyle. So it begins at 70,000, but it goes up by the cost of inflation, a normal inflation number of 2 to 3%. And so you can see that the income is rising over time. And at age 75, we said we're going to need 10,000 less. That's why it drops down. And so that gray line represents your lifestyle expenses, how much money you actually need. And so while things are fine, right? You can actually do the withdrawals of $70,000, raising every year. But by age 73, you'll run out of money. And you'll be living off of Government of Canada pension plan, CPP, and old age security. So that is not the ideal outcome. So then you have to ask yourself, I just don't have enough money in my retirement accounts. I don't really want to sell my house. I want to stay in my house. So if I just do this and I'm going to run out of money, then, and I don't want to sell my house, then I'm going to have to reduce the amount of money or find another income source. And that's not what this video is about, but you can check out the other videos I have about how to actually make more money during retirement. But this is giving that person a hard question. That is, I have to reduce my expenditures. It's just simple. I have to live off less. So they drop it down to $50,000. So now at $50,000, going up each year, you can see that gray line going across the page. The amount of money is going up with inflation. So it's meeting their purchasing needs. But you can see now that that money is being stretched a lot further, and they make it all the way out to age 86. Now we're getting much closer to mortality rates in Canada for men. Now, I don't know if they could do the calculation themselves, but with a little bit of help from an advisor, you can say, well, what if you were to delay this taking CPP until age 70? You can see now that pushes you out to age 87. So 86 is taken care of, and even 87 is pretty much taken care of as well. And then you're living off of a higher CPP in old age security, but nonetheless, you've run out of money. But it happens to be at an age where, that's the mortality rate for men in Canada. Now, I don't want to suggest you plan that way, because you could live longer and then you're just living off of Government Canada benefits. And that would be a terrible way to live the final years of your life. So what does this really mean? That person was living in their home all this time, and they had a lower income, but they were living in their home. But if they were really determined that they wanted to have that $70,000 lifestyle so they could do the traveling and see those things and have those bucket lists checked off, then the real answer to can they retire with $800,000? The real answer is you're sitting on the thing that's going to help you to retire. So let's look at that. If at age 72, they were to sell their home, then they could sell their home, buy a condo for cash, $700,000-$800,000 condo for cash, and invest the rest. And you can see in the very beginning, they're depleting their RRIF, their RSP balances, getting rid of that pretty quickly. And they still have that $70,000. At age 72, their income drops down to 60, and it still continues on for the rest of their life. In fact, they'll have money left over. Now, they won't have any RRIF money left over because they've actually exhausted that. So part of this example is showing you, yes, you can retire with $800,000, but there are some choices you need to make. And if you make the choice to sell your home and then have all that money to live off of, in both of those instances, you've had to actually pay quite a bit of taxes in that RSP. So you might have had to do an RSP meltdown, which is not quite the way an RSP meltdown works, but in this case, it's just simply doing cash withdrawals out of the RSP. So you end up paying more tax. When I say more tax, you were going to pay the tax anyway throughout your lifetime, but you're not leaving it behind, at least for Revenue Canada, to just say, thank you for your money, thanks very much. So at least you're using it and enjoying your lifestyle. So in this particular case, the answer to that question is, can the person retire at age 60 with $800,000? Yes, they can, but they're going to have to reduce their income. Or they sell their home at age 72, where it's a little bit, you think about a 72-year-old, maybe you don't need a large house anymore, and a condo is going to be fine. So it's actually a practical thing to do. And then in doing that practical decision, you end up having quite a bit of money available to you to enjoy your lifestyle and have no problems. And it actually improves your estate from not leaving so much money behind in the RRIF. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions about this, the one question I should be asking you, or ask yourself, and that is, do you have a withdrawal strategy? So many people have a contribution strategy, but don't have a withdrawal strategy. you have to start thinking about, if you're near retirement now, you ought to be thinking about what is your withdrawal strategy. Even if you're a younger person starting to put money in an RSP, you have to be thinking 50 years ahead. How am I going to take money out? What does that look like? I know it's a big ask of you if you're young, because you're thinking, whatever you're talking about, I'm so young. But in this case, it's so important because you can see the result of it. That person really didn't see this part of their life until they were at that moment where they wanted to retire. So you really do need to develop a withdrawal strategy. If you need help doing that, give me a call, send me an email. I'm happy to talk with you about your withdrawal strategy. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I always end every video by saying we take care of your wealth management so you can take care of what's most important to you. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's video. I hope you got a lot out of it. Check out the other videos. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care. Thanks very much.